राधा गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर मन चारी यमुना तीर मन चारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीर वन चारी यमुना तीर वन चारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. I would like to welcome all of you for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class on Canto 11, Chapter 3, chapter entitled Liberation from the Illusory Energy, and we are reciting and discussing on text 39. Andeshu peshishu tarushva avinishchiteshu प्राणो हि जीवम् उपधावति तत्र तत्र सन्नियदिन्द्रियगणे अहमी च प्रसुप्ते कूटस्थ आशयमृते तद् अनुस्मृतिर्नः अंडेषु पेषु तरुष्व अविनिशितेषु निश्चितेषु प्राणो हि जीवमुपधावति तत्र तत्र सन्नियदिन्द्रियगणे अहमी च प्रसुप्ते कूटस्थ आशयनृते तद् अनुस्मृतिर्नः अंडेषु पेषु तरुष्व अविनिश्चितेषु प्राणो हि जीवमुपधावति तत्र तत्र सन्नियदिन्द्रियगणे अहमी च प्रसुप्ते कूटस्थ आशयमृते तद् अनुस्मृतिर्नः अंडेषु in species of life born from eggs Peshishu in embryos, Tarushu in plants, Avinishchiteshu in species of indeterminate origin, born from perspiration. Pranaha, the vital air. He, indeed, Jivam, the soul. Upadhavati, follows. Tatra tatra, from one species to another. Sanne, they are merged. Yat, when. Indriyagane, all the senses. Ahami, the false ego. Cha, also. Prasupte, in deep sleep. Kutastaha, unchanging. Ashayam, the subtle covering of contaminated consciousness. The linga sharira. Rite, without. Tat, of that. Anusmritihi, there is subsequent remembrance. Naha, our. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charanarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The spirit soul is born in many different species of life within the material world. Some species are born from eggs, others from embryos, others from the seeds of plants and trees, and others from perspiration. But in all species of life, the prana or vital air remains unchanging and follows the spirit soul from one body to another. Similarly, the spirit soul is eternally the same despite its material condition of life. We have practical experience of this. When we are absorbed in deep sleep without dreaming, the material senses become inactive, and even the mind and false ego are merged into a dormant condition. But although the senses, mind, and false ego are inactive, one remembers upon waking that he, the soul, was peacefully sleeping. Purport. When a living entity is awake, the material senses and mind are constantly active. Similarly, when one is sleeping, the false ego recollects one's waking experiences, and thus one experiences dreams or fragments of dreams while sleeping. But in the state of prasupti or deep sleep, both the mind and the senses become inactive, and the false ego does not recall previous experiences or desires. The subtle mind and false ego are called linga sharira, or the subtle material body. This linga sharira is experienced in the form of temporary material designations, such as I am a rich man, I'm a strong man, I'm black, I'm white, I'm American, I'm Chinese. The sum total of one's illusory conceptions of oneself is called ahankara, or false ego. And due to this illusory conception of life, the living entity transmigrates from one species of life to another. As clearly explained in Bhagavad Gita, the spirit soul, however, does not change its constitutional position of eternity, knowledge, and bliss, although the soul may temporarily forget this position. To cite an analogous situation, if one dreams at night that he is walking in the forest, such a dream does not change one's actual position of lying in bed within his apartment. Thus, it is stated in this verse, Kutastha Ashayan Mrite, despite the transformations of the subtle body, the spirit soul does not change. Srila Sridhar Swami has given the following example to illustrate this point. Etavantam kalam sukhamaham ashvapsham na kinchit avedisham. One often thinks, I was sleeping very peacefully, although I was not dreaming or aware of anything. It can be logically understood that one cannot remember something of which he has had no experience. Therefore, since one remembers peacefully sleeping, although there was no mental or sensual experience, such a memory should be understood to be a vague experience of the spirit soul. Srila Madhvacharya has explained that the demigods, who are superior race of human-like entities on the higher planetary systems of this universe, do not actually undergo the gross ignorance of deep sleep as do ordinary human beings. Because the demigods have superior intelligence, they are not merged into ignorance at the time of sleeping. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, Mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Sleep is apohanam, or forgetfulness. Sometimes by dreaming there is smriti, or memory of one's actual condition. Although in a dream one may experience one's family or friends in an altered illusory state. But all such conditions of remembering and forgetting are due to the presence of the super soul within the heart. By the mercy of the super soul, one can have preliminary glimpse of the soul by remembering how one was peacefully resting even without mental or sensual experience. According to the authorized commentaries on this verse, Avinishchiteshu means Svedajeshu, or born from perspiration. Srila Madhvacharya has pointed out, Bhu Svedena hi prayo jayante. The earth's dew is to be considered the perspiration of the earth, and various species of life are generated from dew. In the Mundaka Upanishad 3.1.9, the situation of the soul in relation to prana is explained. Esho anur atma chetasa veditavyo yasmin pranaha panchadha samvivesha pranaishchittam sarvamotam prajanam yasmin vishuddhe vibhavatya esha atma. The soul is atomic in size and can be perceived by perfect intelligence. This atomic soul is floating in the 5 kinds of air: prana, apana, vyana, samana, and udana. The soul is situated within the heart, and it spreads its influence all over the body of the embodied living entities. When the soul is purified from the contamination of the 5 kinds of material air, its spiritual influence is exhibited. Thus, in the innumerable species of life, the spiritual soul remains situated within prana, or the material life air. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurudve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guroho Shri Uta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajataham Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namaom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishna He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaustute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dina Tarinam. Hare Krishna. So I'd like to welcome all of you once again. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 3, and we are discussing on text 39. So today also happens to be Sri Veerbhadra Goswami's appearance day, who is the son of Sri Nityanand Prabhu. So we'll discuss something about that also. Before, when we are through the verse, so this verse is talking about how the soul exists within the body, and when the soul exists, how the state of awareness. There are three states of experience that we have. One is called wakeful state, where material senses and mind are active, like we all are sitting now, right? So the senses are active. Now my nose is able to smell something by which I am troubled. Something is going on here. So the senses are active. With my eyes I'm looking, with my nose, with my ears. So this is termed as wakefulness, where material senses and mind are active. The second state that we experience is called dreaming. What is dreaming? Where the material senses and the mind also at some point, right, is inactive, but the false ego recalls experiences and it creates this dream, right? Okay, so wakefulness, then dreaming, and the third state that we all seek to experience every night when we sleep, right? It is called prasupti, that is called deep sleep. In this, the mind and senses are inactive, and false ego also does not recall previous experiences, right? That is called deep sleep. So now, this subtle body, right, mind, intelligence, and the false ego, it is called linga sharira. And even if the gross senses are resting, this linga sharira remains active. And in the purport it is said how our identification, I'm Indian, I'm strong, I'm American, I'm Chinese, all these designations, bodily designations, they constitute the ahankara. And till the time this ahankara remains false ego, my false identification with anything material in this creation, right? Till the time it remains, I as soul have to transmigrate through species of life. Okay. But all through this changing gross body and changing subtle body, what is eternal and what is unchanging is the soul. The Atma remains aloof from it. The Atma is Sat, Chit and Anand. Yes, but what has happened temporarily, we are forgetful of our original identity, true identity. And that's why this example, to the example of dream, it is explained so nicely. Right? Like I dream of walking in a forest. Right? If I'm dreaming that, it doesn't change one's actual position in the bed. I'm on the bed, but I am also dreaming about walking in the forest. Right? So the identification with the body does not change the soul's spiritual position. The Atma remains kutastha, right? And everything else is changing. That's why kutastha ashayam rite, it is given kutastha. So Sridhar Swami, his example is quoted in the verse, how remembering peaceful sleep, even without mental awareness, it implies that we have this faint awareness of soul's existence, that we are beyond all this. Now, one may ask then, if I am misidentifying myself, if I have forgotten my identity, all these experiences and forgetfulness and remembrance, how does that all happen? That I go into a state of, when I sleep, I go into a state of prasupti, I forget everything. But when I wake up, I'm again remembering everything. That's why in the purport said, all this is being done by the Paramatma. Right? So the example is given from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Samana vrikshe purusho nimagno. There are two birds sitting on a branch. One bird is trying to eat the fruits of the tree, and the second bird is watching. Right? And so we are like that first bird, the soul, who was trying to enjoy the fruits in this world. And the second bird is Paramatma, simply watching over. And what is Paramatma doing? Paramatma's job, Krishna is telling in the Gita, Mattaha smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes memory, From me comes knowledge, from me comes forgetfulness. So Krishna's expansion as Paramatma sitting in the heart, what is it doing? There, the Paramatma is giving this uh, knowledge, memory, and forgetfulness. They come from Paramatma. So Madhvacharya adds in the commentary, it is given that the demigods have superior intelligence. They never fall into this gross ignorance even during their sleep state. That's the difference between us and the demigods, for that matter. So it's the Paramatma which grants the living entity the capacity to remember or forget. So we'll discuss something on this Paramatma's role for some time, 5-10 minutes, and then we'll go to Veerbhadra Gosai's appearance date discussion. And another thing that is specifically reminded of at the end of the purport is Avinishchiteshu. Avinishchiteshu means in species of indeterminate origin. Nobody can determine how are they taking birth. Some are taking birth through egg, some are through embryo. And what is this indeterminate? Shvetaja. There are entities which take birth through even perspiration. Right? So that, and Madhvacharya is saying the dew on the earth is the earth's perspiration. And some species get generated even through the dew. So humans' perspiration gives birth, even earth's dew. And ultimately the soul's relation with the prana is discussed. So I thought I will focus something on Paramatma today, the presence of Paramatma, and what does Paramatma do? Paramatma gives us knowledge, remembrance, and forgetfulness. So while we are living in this world, smritir, remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness, it is all being awarded by Krishna in the form of the Paramatma. So, Krishna is the source of knowledge for non-devotees, for devotees, right? Krishna is the source of knowledge in the form of scriptures. It's Krishna only giving the scriptures, the source of all knowledge, right? And yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha guru tasya kathita hi arthaha prakashante mahatmana. So Prabhupada says that actually the meaning of the words of the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam is revealed to one who strictly follows the order of the spiritual master and has equal faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the knowledge is there in the scriptures. How does it get revealed? To one who has implicit faith in Guru and Krishna. And Krishna reveals this knowledge. You find in the 10th chapter, 11th verse, the Chatushloki Gita, Krishna says, Tesham evanukam partham ahamadnyanajam tamaha nashayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhasvataha. I destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. So Krishna is the source of all knowledge. Apparently Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, even though he was illiterate by material sense, but all the imports of the scriptures, right? Bhaktisan Thakur, actually when Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj passed away and Bhaktisan Thakur got the news, he offered a prayer. And one of his articles he wrote in honor of Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj. And in that article, when he ends, he says, to whom will I show my writings now? All the writings, the books that I write and the articles that I write, especially he would write articles. That was Bhaktivinoda Thakur's instruction to Bhaktisan Sri Thakur. He has not written many books, but articles he would write. Harmonist and Gaudiya Patrika and all. And in that article, which was written as an homage to Gaur Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, he writes, to whom will I show my writings now? No one will say, but Gaur Krishnadas Babaji was illiterate and you were a scholar. But Krishna reveals the knowledge to a devotee. And Prabhupada also gives the example of the South Indian Brahmana who was sitting in Srirangam trying to read Bhagavad Gita. Shuddha Ashuddha Podi. I don't know Sanskrit. I do not understand. But Mahaprabhu told him, because you are experiencing these great ecstatic symptoms while reading Gita, your reading of Gita has achieved perfection. Why? Krishna reveals the knowledge. Now one may say to devotees, Paramatma is revealing as Krishna as Paramatma. is giving knowledge to devotees, even non-devotees, right? What is Krishna? Krishna only is fulfilling their desires. Even demons like Kamsa, right? How are they getting knowledge to kill Krishna? Even that knowledge is given by Krishna, right? What about, okay, Mattaha Jnanam. We discussed Jnana actually first. Now let's go to Smriti. When remembrance has to be there, Krishna only is giving that remembrance. So, so every morning when we wake up, right, we depend on Paramatma to remind us, who am I? What was I doing yesterday? What are my activities, right, supposed to be done today? Now, not only in waking up, we totally depend on Paramatma. Even to go to sleep, right? Even in going to sleep, right? Because sleeping is no easy task. Ask those who suffer insomnia. I am not able to wind up. I am not able to close my day. And those who are able to sleep, they don't realize how Paramatma is switching off the memory part now. Every morning when we wake up, the memory switch is put on. When we go to sleep, when we lie down and we want to sleep, right, it is Paramatma who is sanctioning. Okay, you are allowed to sleep now. So Paramatma, waking up and sleeping, Paramatma is playing that important role of remembrance. Another place that Paramatma plays important role is our death and our birth. Right? At death, how Paramatma is playing that role. So death and sleep are very similar. Prabhupada says, in the night when you sleep, you may sleep for 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours. But when we die, that death and birth is also, it's just like, you can say 9 months of sleep for the sake of it. Right? But both activities are similar. So our consciousness gets covered over during this time. The whole purport and the verse is explaining that. So when death comes, Paramatma reminds us, now your time in this body is over. You have to leave this body and go to another. And when with birth, Paramatma reminds, these were your desires last life. That's why you have got this body. Now, that's why Veda says, Anta pravishta sasta jananam. The living entity forgets as soon as he quits his present body, but he begins his work again, initiated by the Supreme Lord. So, every day, sleeping and waking up, with every birth and death in this world, and especially when Mahavishnu will take in with his breathing all the souls in, and all the souls will once again come out when he exhales, once again Paramatma's role comes in. Because when Mahavishnu will inhale in, the souls will go in to Mahavishnu's body with all their past karma, desires and everything. But they are lying in Susupta stage. When they come out, once again Paramatma reminds them, okay, a newer creation is beginning now. Now this was your desires. So the Paramatma is the giver of the memory. Which are the examples? We find the examples of Gajendra in the Bhagavatam. Right? Evam vyavasito buddhya samadhaya manohridi jajapa paramam japyam prag janmani anushikshitam. This soul who is in the body of an elephant now could remember the verses that he had memorized in the last birth. Prag janmani. Who reminded? At that point, an elephant remembering. So as Indradyumna Maharaj in the previous birth, whatever he had memorized, and Srila Prabhupada says there in the purport, all the devotees in ISKCON should try to memorize the songs written by the previous acharyas. And if you cannot do that, at least Narshing Arti, Prabhupada says, everyone, right? Prabhupada says, it is imperative therefore that all devotees in Krishna consciousness practice chanting some mantra. Certainly one should chant the Hare Krishna mantra, which is the Maha Mantra or great mantra. And also one should practice chanting Chinta Mani Prakara Sadma. And Prabhupada says Narshinga Stotra. Ito Narshingo, Parato Narshingo, Yato Yato Yami Tato Narshingo. Prabhupada says every devotee should practice in order to chant some mantra perfectly. So that even though he may be imperfect in spiritual consciousness in this life, in his next life he will not forget Krishna consciousness. Even if he becomes an animal. Who is reminding? It is Paramatma who is reminding. Right? You find Ajamil's case. Right? He remembered, oh Narayan. He called out to his son. Right? What happened? Because of his past practice. Bharat Maharaj became deer. Then he became Jada Bharat. Right? All through this third birth in the family, as Jada Bharat, right? His remembrance was very strong. Right? So Krishna gives knowledge, Krishna gives remembrance, Krishna also gives forgetfulness. How does Krishna give us forgetfulness? With every birth, we forget most of the experiences of last birth. Why does Krishna put us through that forgetfulness? Just so that, with our enjoying spirit that we have taken a new birth, we should be able to enjoy. If with our past experiences, remembrances, if we are there, then we won't be able to live the birth afresh, this life afresh. So Paramatma does another job, the third switch, forgetfulness. Right? So Paramatma, so does that happen with Krishna? No. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tavacharjuna. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you and I have taken many births. Tan aham veda sarvani. I remember all. Natvam vetta parantapa. Arjuna, you may be parantapa, but you forget. You don't remember your birth, but I do that. So there's a joke that along with this verse that comes with this verse. How many of you know what is the birth date of Arjuna? Birth date of Arjuna. You don't know? This verse you can memorize. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava charjuna. Charjun. Charj. The janmani tava, your janma is Charjun. Krishna. Some. Okay. So Krishna, because he is supreme, he is infinite, he remembers everything. But we are infinitesimal. We are part and parcel of Krishna. We forget. So is forgetfulness beneficial? Yeah. I said one way is we are able to live our life afresh, a new birth. And forgetfulness is necessary for enjoyment also. Right? If I don't, if I remember everything, then okay, I don't have time. Okay, I just have 3 minutes. What about devotees? For practicing devotees, does Krishna put practicing devotees into forgetfulness? With pure devotees, we'll come to pure devotees. Krishna says yes. Two examples we'll take. For practicing devotees, Krishna says, Krishna kahe ama bhaje mage vishay sukh. Oh, this practicing devotee, he's worshipping me and he's asking for sense gratification. Krishna says, vishay sukh vishay bhulaiba. I will make him forget sense gratification. Amrut chadi vish mage ei bado murkh. So Prabhupada, Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is very, very foolish. Indeed, he is just like a person who gives up ambrosia to drink poison. But then Krishna says, since I am very intelligent, why should I give this fool material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget. Krishna says, make him forget illusory material enjoyment. So the sincere practicing devotees, Krishna, what will Krishna do? Make the devotee forget illusory material enjoyment. Right? What about pure devotees? Does Krishna put this forgetfulness switch on for them? Does he switch on that forgetfulness switch? Yes. We find Yashoda running behind Krishna. She's completely forgetful of that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Even if she is reminded, she will say, oh, he wants to drink milk. He is doing some pranks like kids. What kind of God is he? When Uddhava came to Vrindavan and was trying to console Nanda Maharaj. Oh, why are you crying like this? Krishna is present everywhere. He is God. Right? He is Paramatma sitting in everyone's heart. He is the Brahman. And Nanda Maharaj said, what? You're calling Krishna God? I told him, lift my chappal, lift my footwear and bring it to me. And he could not even lift my footwear. What kind of God is this? He forgets that he lifted Govardhan also. Right? And Uddhava went to gopis and told gopis, Krishna is present everywhere. He is present in your hearts. Why are you crying like this? And gopis say, you are saying Krishna is Brahman? Gopis say, can your Brahman dance? We don't want your Brahman if that Brahman cannot dance. We love Krishna. So what is happening here? Krishna is putting forgetfulness on his pure devotees also. So that the devotees forget his greatness and only love his sweetness. Right? That madhurya prema. So as Paramatma, Krishna has three switches in his hand. Smritir, Jnanam, Apohanam. Memory, knowledge and forgetfulness. What should we pray for? We should pray Krishna, at least in material endeavors, put this forgetfulness switch off and memory and knowledge should come up. Right? And in some lifetime, with my practice and Guru's mercy, if Krishna can bless me, then I may reach the stage of forgetfulness of Krishna's greatness and only relish and serve Krishna's sweetness. So today also happens to be the appearance day of Veerbhadra Goswami. Veerbhadra Goswami or Veerachandra or Veerbhadra Prabhu, as his name is called, the reference for him comes in the 11th chapter, 8th verse to 12th verse in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela. After Nityananda Prabhu, the greatest branch is Veerbhadra Goswami, who also has innumerable branches and sub-branches. It is not possible to describe them all. Krishnaj Kaviraj Goswami says. And he says, so Veerbhadra Goswami was the son of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, is the son of Sri Nityananda Prabhu, a disciple of Janava Devi, and his mother's name is Vasudha Devi. Nityananda Prabhu is another wife. Right? And Gaur Gaudadesh Deepika, the scriptures says how Bir Chandra Prabhu is an incarnation of Shirodakshai Vishnu, one of the expansions of Sri Sankarshan. And he is non-different from Lord Chaitanya himself. And there's a wonderful explanation how Veer Chandra Prabhu, whose appearance there is today, he went to Vrindavan. When he planned to go to Vrindavan, how he went to Srikhanda, how he went to Shantipur, Mayapur, right? Then he reached Vrindavan, how he met the Goswamis there, took the blessings of Krishnaj Kaviraj Goswami, Jiva Goswami, right? And devotees living there, Haridas Pandit, Ananta Acharya, how he went to various temples and dancing in ecstasy. And seeing him, everyone was reminded of Nityananda Prabhu. Wow! As if Nityananda Prabhu has come again. And after taking consent of Sri Jiva Goswami and Bhugarbha Goswami, he especially during the Kartik Maas, he went around the 12 forests of Vrindavan. Right? So his birthplace is in Khardaha, which is now a rail station in Sialda Krishnanagar line. Prabhupada writes there. The village where Nityananda Prabhu made his advent in this world, Ekachakra, is also named Veerachandrapur. Here the deity of Sri Bankim Rai was worshipped by Veerachandra Prabhu. So his deity is in, we can always go and take darshan there. Thank you very much. Srila Veerbhadra Goswami Pada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam. Any questions we'll take personally. We have gone beyond time today. We've gone beyond the time. It's already 8:34.
When you mention, thank you for a wonderful class, Prabhu. When you mention that Krishna gave us the forgetfulness and remembrance, and I was just trying to compare. Of course, this is in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Shisham Sanvishtum Mattashmatir Jnanam Apohanam Cha, and you also quoted Gajendra Evam Vishata Buddha Samadhaya Manuradi. All this is done, given, then why the devotees is praying in Isha Upanishad, Vayuru Aninam Amritam Athidam Pasvatam Sharinam Om Kritoshmara, that please remember all my sacrifices, and if I don't remember you, you please remember me. This is a guarantee given by Krishna that I will remember you, but still devotees are praying for that. What is the reason behind that?
A devotee there is not trying to order Krishna, please, you should do that job for me. It's simply that Krishna, the devotee out of humility is praying like that. Like Srila Prabhupada is praying. One time Tamal Krishna Maharaj asked Prabhupada, what did you pray for? And Prabhupada said, I prayed to Radha, Rukmini Dwarkadish, that please save me from falling down. And Tamal Krishna Maharaj, do you also need to pray like that? Prabhupada said, everybody needs to pray. Everyone should pray. Maya is very strong. One will say, Prabhupada is delivering so many. Does he need to pray? So that's a devotee's humility. We are not recounting Krishna, I may forget, but you should keep in cloud storage, all my seva that I have done, cloud storage. We are not trying to, the devotee is not praying in that mood. The devotee is simply trying to be humble, to understand, to say that, Krishna, I need your mercy. Thank you very much.
Mood of humility.
Yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.